Up close and personal, I would love to introduce you to a guest on set who is not just a finance guy, he's a finance guy with a lot of horsepower, and you will find out exactly what I mean. His name is Syed Ghazanfar Agha. He's a senior banker, general secretary and treasurer, MCP Motors Sports Club, Pakistan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Raja.
How are you doing?
Great morning.
Great. And guys, I really want you to know कि 10 दिन पहले ही एक road trip से वापस आए from Karachi to Russia. How incredible is that? I mean, I would love to give more of an intro, but I think हम बात करेंगे तो ज़्यादा बेहतर होगा. आप 10 दिन पहले आए हैं एक ऐसे ट्रिप से जो शायद दुनिया में किसी ने नहीं किया. आप शायद पहले हैं. And I feel lucky to interview you for this amazing achievement. Please tell us about it.
No, thank you for having me here.
Absolutely.
And the primary purpose of today is to encourage people to go out and do this.
Yeah.
It can be done.
Yeah.
So we put out 18 days of travel logs. Every single day has been catalogued, every border, every journey, every kilometer that we did. About 7,200 kilometers.
Wow.
And every inch has been catalogued for people to follow in our footsteps.
Wow, how incredible is that?
So we did a trip to the UK last year, to London last year, through the Balkans.
And that too by road?
That too by road, and that was the first of its kind as well.
Okay.
Those roads were never traversed by a Pakistani car from Pakistan. Yeah. The good part is that since then, the floodgates have opened. The reason I follow this up with my first statement is that the purpose of documenting and cataloguing that trip was to encourage people to do it.
Yes.
And the response has been overwhelming. There are people doing it right now. There are people who've been doing it for the last 6 months. Last year when we went to the Pakistan-Iran border, we were the only ones, and people were totally unprepared for somebody heading out or heading in.
Wow.
This year when I went to the Pakistan-Iran border, there were 6 cars parked to be let in.
Oh wow.
And there were a flood of cars that were on the way out of Pakistan. So this drive to Russia and us cataloguing it is primarily to encourage people and inspire people. Go ahead and do this.
Okay.
It can be done.
No, but like tell me, what was, I think, the toughest part of the journey? Just I mean, you've made an intention of doing that when? When did you decide you were going to do this, and how quickly did you implement it?
I've been wanting to do it for a few years. We tried doing it last year. Last year was the first time I actually tried doing it.
Okay.
The travel to UK and to London was the plan B.
Okay.
So we had trouble with visas because it's a war zone as well. Most people don't realize that it's not just a simple drive up.
Yeah.
And going through Georgia into Russia, you have Ukraine on your left, and you have Chechnya on your right, and it's tough to enter from there.
Okay.
So,
and did you have a lot of security concerns while going? Were you safe? What is one of the things that, you know, if you are actually inspiring people over here right now, what is the one thing that you can tell people to be most careful of? Or most prepared for?
Borders are not very friendly to Pakistani cars. Hopefully they'll have a better time. I spent 6 to 8 hours at each border just trying to convince every border. There was so much hostility. They said, go back, we won't let you in.
Oh God.
Because Pakistani cars never come through. They didn't know what documents to ask for. Their systems didn't have the provision for entering a Pakistan car.
Oh my God.
So I had to request them to put others, make photocopies. We still use chassis number, which is a 14-digit code. And the entire world used the VIN number. So when the world uses a VIN number, which is a 17-digit code, they can't relate to anything else. The systems are not catered to it.
Oh God.
But hopefully we've
now you've set the trend.
We've created a precedence. So at least now people can show those videos. People at the borders may then graduate and tell others. So every border, a whole bunch of people used to gather together to see a car from Pakistan.
No way.
In Russia, you know, people left their posts, and the immigration people.
And if you don't mind me asking, what vehicle were you on?
So I was using a Toyota Hilux Revo, and with a lot of pride because it was a car that was assembled in Pakistan.
Oh wow.
And not only was I the first person to do this, I made sure we did it in a Pakistani car.
I mean, that's exactly why I wanted to ask, because it would make more sense, right?
And I didn't want to take one of our imported cars or other cars. And it's not because of charity. trust me, this Revo, this Hilux, was as good as anything that could have been.
And imagine if you were having any difficulty along the way. अगर पाकिस्तानी गाड़ी आप कहीं से भी रास्ते में सही भी करा सकते हो while heading out, right? I think that
actually Pakistan से निकलना तो सबसे आसान काम था. Although traveling through Balochistan, so we are talking in bits and pieces. And
that's okay. That's exactly how I wanted to be. So you can bring London in whenever you want to.
So
I'm journeying with you.
हम पाकिस्तान की बात. So I coined a phrase about 30 years ago, my beautiful Pakistan. And for 30 years I've been using and pushing that phrase, and now it's catching on. So my beautiful Pakistan is something that I tell people, turn off Dawn News, stop reading the newspapers, go out there and enjoy Pakistan. There are no worries in 99% of Pakistan. I just traveled through Balochistan extensively twice in the last 2 months.
Did you have any females with you also? Or was it just you? How many of you, if you don't mind, how many of you were there? So now I'm really getting into it.
I was alone.
You were all alone.
I was alone.
You were all alone, like sleeping. And what about your belongings when you were?
So again we are fragmented. So Shahzadi is the Hilux that I use, our car.
Okay.
And now it has been with me to about 22, 23 countries. And I'm going back next month, and we're going to create another record, which I'll come back to later. And so Shahzadi is super reliable.
Okay.
It's a local Pakistani Hilux. It's tough, it's strong, and I often say that it goes over anything that comes in its way.
Wow.
I went through deserts, I went through snowstorms, I went through mountains, I went through passes, I drove through rivers, I drove through incredible highways, motorways, border crossings. So that's not a challenge. The car is incredible and she holds up, and now she's developed an identity of her own over the last 2 years of cataloging, because we started this channel Accelerate with SGA last year. People have been telling me to write a book for my adventures of the last 35 plus years.
You should.
There's so much happening around me, and work takes up most of my day.
Of course.
And then with the rest of the things, I don't have time to write a book.
हम discussions कर रहे हैं about adventure and travel and this amazing story that we've been sharing. कि commercial break में भी नहीं लग रहा कि हम actually break पे गए. And Ghazanfar, you were telling me about this amazing journey you're planning to do with your son, and किस तरीके से आपकी family में, आप मुझे अपने dad के बारे में भी बता रहे थे कि it's been there since 3 generations. Tell us a little more about it.
So the reason I went alone before we went on the break was because some friends were supposed to join me once I was past Afghanistan. Nobody was willing to go to Afghanistan. Afghanistan turned out to be quite a nightmare and a harrowing experience. And after that, everyone disappeared. So this journey was very hostile to start with, and then after that it was very difficult. Iran was incredibly beautiful and very welcoming. But once we were past Iran, every single border, every single day they told me, go back. Why have you come? We will not let a Pakistani car through. We cannot let a Pakistani car through. Our systems don't have the facility. We don't know how to put in a car. There is no VIN number.
How did you do it?
I sat at every border for 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever it took.
Really?
And I told them I'm not going back. I've done 6,000 kilometers, I've done 7,000 kilometers to get here, through deserts, through snow, through sandstorms, through dust storms, through hail, through rivers, through mountains, through passes.
I mean, they must have noticed your commitment and been like, इसको जाने देते हैं, ये यहीं पे बैठा रहेगा वरना हमारे साथ.
That's what eventually happened.
That's what happened.
True story. So what you just said, eventually they just melted and they said, okay, never again, not now. But the important part is that we've set a precedence.
Of course.
Now whoever wants to do it can show them on YouTube, this car from Pakistan is here. So Shahzadi is my travel companion. So you were saying, why was I alone? I wasn't alone.
Shahzadi was with you.
Shahzadi was with me.
No, but one would think Allah na kare koi तबीयत खराब हो जाए or something like that. इस तरह के केस में I'm sure हुई होगी बीच.
So you see me dressed in a suit. I'm coming from work. I'm going back to work. 36 years, I've never taken a day off. Unless I'm traveling.
Are you
If I'm not in work, if I'm not at work, I'm not in Karachi.
This is
If I'm in Karachi, I've never taken a sick day. I've never taken a bad day.
Oh wow, that's incredible. And what is the reason? How is it that you stay so fit as well? कि आप अपनी सेहत का ध्यान भी रख रहे हैं when you're traveling and all? You don't do anything of that sort?
ना सेहत का ख्याल रखता हूँ. रोज नहारी खाता हूँ, पाई खाता हूँ. No food discipline, no discipline. I work 10 to 12 hours a day. I have very long work hours.
Well, considering you're really good friends with Makhalu as well, I would assume that you would love to eat just as much as he did.
Absolutely.
And
I loved Muda. I loved him. And he was such an incredible guy. And
I love him too.
It brings tears to our eyes every time we talk about him.
Absolutely. So, coming back to how is it that you are managing so much adrenaline with so much analytics in your life as well, not taking a single day off, being a family man as well, having a 90-year-old boy yourself. और अभी आप imagine क्या अभी आप plan कर रहे हैं एक journey with your son. So tell us about that journey.
So I've got 3 kids.
Achha,
my eldest is 23 and my daughter is 20. She's turning 21 next month.
MashaAllah.
She was insistent that she gets the best present in the world for turning 21.
And that would be a trip somewhere?
Absolutely.
With you?
So hopefully she will join us on this journey.
How lovely.
And my son is now going to drive back from Georgia to Pakistan.
Wow.
At 19, he's going to be the first person to ever do it. And he's also going to be the youngest to be a cross-country traveler. You get your license at 18.
18, yeah, exactly.
So how soon can you do something like this?
How lovely is that?
At 19, he's going to drive back. He's going to bring Shahzadi from Georgia to Pakistan.
Nice.
And we're going to have some incredible adventures along the way. My daughter has also been racing. My eldest son has been racing. So we set history in 2022.
Yeah.
My father was one of the pioneers for racing in Pakistan. And everything I do today, I owe it to my parents.
Yeah.
Especially my father for giving us the passion for cars.
Yeah.
And my mother for giving us the strength that you talk about.
Yeah.
She was an incredibly strong working woman back in the 70s and through the 80s.
Wow.
And she used to drive herself and she was a working woman and she gave us the courage.
Did you do these trips with your dad as a child?
Yes, with my parents.
Yeah.
All through the 80s.
What was the first age, or the first time you ever went with your dad for a trip?
1984. We drove across Europe.
Wow.
And there was no technology. There were no mobile phones, there was no Google Maps. And I remember as a young boy standing with my father on the side of the motorways with a map spread over the bonnet, holding it down so it doesn't blow away, and penciling our routes. And then my mother looking for each signboard as my dad drove, and me trying to help, and my younger brother trying to help.
How incredible is that? I've never heard of couples like that, like back in 1984, like being so connected like that. Your mom used to circle the spots and your dad used to drive. How amazing is that?
And we would map the routes with my dad and
wow.
teach us how to take the exits, and he taught us how to drive. So I've never had a coach for anything. I've played sport at a decent level. I've been a Pakistan ranking tennis player. And my dad taught us how to swim, drive, play tennis, do everything in life.
हम आपसे बात करें the thrill of racing and family legacy, and we have a wonderful person over here who I'm so inspired by right now कि मेरे दिल चाह रहा है मैं अभी उठूं और मैं किसी ट्रिप पे चली जाऊं. I literally don't want to
You're
be
welcome.
here.
You're welcome to join us.
Thank you so much. But I'll have to work around your itinerary, right?
Absolutely.
अच्छा, I love that. I love the will with which you plan your trips as well. कि ये मेरी itinerary है, जिसने आना है आ जाए, वरना pictures enjoy करे. तभी आप trips पे जा सकते हो, right? अगर आप लोगों को accommodate करते रहोगे तो आप नहीं कर सकते.
So we carry only close friends with us.
Yeah.
This is by invite. It's not. We don't do anything commercial.
Absolutely.
So anybody who's willing to come, we have a great bunch of travel buddies.
Yeah.
We have a great bunch of people. Liaquat Malik is my perennial travel partner. Him and his wife Samreen and my wife Parisa. We do a lot of travels together, and then we have this whole bunch of travel buddies who join us.
And I love that. So I really want to know about some of your races in Pakistan. And I specifically want to ask you about the Thar Rally as well, and I want to talk about the 500-kilometer journey you covered. And 1989 में I believe you were the first person who won, right? उस ज़माने में सिर्फ 30 लोग थे जो गए थे, अब 150 से भी ऊपर हैं.
So Thar, we just did Thar 2 months ago.
Achha.
The Sindh government took an incredible initiative at restarting Thar. And we've done it a few decades ago, and now we've come back to do Thar. So this was our second consecutive podium. So our racing team is Team SQ.
Okay.
And Shiraz Qureshi, SQ stands for Shiraz Qureshi. He's my brother and partner in crime.
Okay.
And we race together, and we do a lot of stuff together.
Right.
And incredible guy. If you think I'm incredible, he rides horses too.
Oh, wow.
So in addition to the cars and the bikes.
So actual horsepower.
He has actual horsepower.
Actual horsepower.
And he's the man who keeps Team SQ going and running.
Okay.
And we raced in Cholistan earlier this year.
Achha.
And that's the 450, 500 kilometer race. It's called the Cholistan 500. So Zunaira Mahmood, I partnered with her in the ladies category.
Achha,
and we did the truck category for the third year. And we've pioneered and introduced truck racing into Pakistan. So for the first time, somebody raced in 3 different categories in one event, and we were fortunate to bring home 2 trophies.
And I mean, it's great कि आप 2 trophies जीते, but I really want to know कि in different vehicles की racing में क्या strategy और क्या difference है. I think it would be incredible जिसने तीनों categories में race किया हुआ है, जो बाकियों को बता सके, जो शायद लोगों को ना पता हो.
It's unbelievable.
How?
Because we were racing in A prepared,
Achha.
Shiraz and myself, and that's the toughest and the biggest category, and that's spread over 2 days.
Which one is the toughest?
A prepared.
Achha, A
That's the top category. That's the open category.
Achha, theek.
So you race a day, then you take a day's break, and then you race another day.
Wow.
And in that day break in between, I did 2 races. I did the truck race in the morning,
Wow.
and I did the ladies category race, partnering, co-driving, navigating with Zunaira Mahmood, which was her debut race.
Wow.
And her father's a dear friend, and her younger brother is also a dear friend now. And her elder brother is Zain Mahmood, who's one of Pakistan's fastest drivers.
It's great to see women in the scene as well.
And she was my navigator and co-driver in the truck category. So she's the first Pakistani legendary girl. She's doing truck racing in Pakistan. Imagine that.
I love
and she's
that.
done it 2 consecutive years.
More power to her for that. More power to her.
And if you see her, she rides horses.
Amazing.
And she's doing truck racing with me. She's rides Shiraz's
And truck
horses.
racing कितनी मुश्किल होती है? क्या truck
बहुत
racing?
tough है.
Tough है?
It takes a huge toll on the body because these
तो आपको एक दिन का
trucks,
रेस्ट करना पड़ता है उसके बाद.
supposedly.
But you did, obviously. But you were not cut out of normal cloth, I
didn't even rest
think.
for 2 hours. I finished the truck race, and me and Zunaira ran to the start point, got into her race vehicle, and then we did the ladies category race, and she drove incredibly well.
I can imagine.
And there were people coming on the opposite side, and I told her, don't lift your foot off. So we actually scraped, had a bit of a rush on the side,
God.
and I'm understating it, and kudos to her, she kept going.
You did it, wow.
So, Team SQ has...
And I'm sure you learn a lot from,
So our daughter's race, Shiraz's daughter Maham is one of the bravest girls I've seen. She toppled a car in Gwadar. We straightened it out, kicked out the windscreen, put on new tires from the spares and the other cars around, and put it back on track, and she won that race. Imagine with a bandaged hand, no windscreen. Talk about Mad Max being these girls.
Wow.
And Pakistani girls.
Pakistani girls.
So my daughter raced at Omni racetrack. I was telling you about Omni.
Yes, you were.
Which is one of the greatest gifts that people who want to race in Karachi have.
Yes, absolutely.
Always put up the best facility that you can imagine.
Yeah.
And my daughter raced there, and she had a crash as well. And she went on to race, and she went on to do well. So these girls are made of steel.
Made of steel. And I think अच्छा example जब आपकी ज़िंदगी में हो, you had your dad as a very good example, right?
Absolutely.
And your daughters have you, and your son has you as well.
So in one race, 3 different generations of us raced together. That's a record for Pakistan for sure. I don't know where else in the world, but something special.
Something special.
My dad was the oldest participant.
Yeah.
My son at 18 was the youngest participant. My dad was 72, and I was slotted in between.
Yeah.
And we were in 3 different categories, and all 3 of us brought trophies home. It was not just about participating.
It's about winning.
Well.
But you've actually set the path for others to follow as well. So ये documentary कब release हो रही है or whatever, travel.
So we have a channel, Accelerate with SGA, on YouTube.
Okay.
We have our daily travel logs, 18 episodes for the Russia journey.
Achha.
We had 15 episodes for the journey from here to London. Achha. We have 3 episodes for these videos that you're showing earlier this year for the third GT.
Okay.
So Cholistan.
And how do you record these, by the way? I mean, I'm really curious to know. Just your phone?
My handheld phone takes pictures and makes videos.
Okay.
And then I have an incredible editor. And she transforms those pictures and videos into these great videos that you see on YouTube.
Yeah.
And our part now is to inspire people. So I work very closely with Kiran Foundation. And it's the first mother-child informed trauma education system in Pakistan. And these children who are coming out of Kiran are probably the best children that you can imagine in Pakistan. The education that they are getting and the stuff that Kiran and Sabina Khatri has set Kiran up, and I've been with them since 2006.
Yeah.
These kids now aspire to become racers, engineers, automobile people.
Amazing.
I set up an internship for somebody last night from Monday starting at Honda Kaidin.
Nice.
And they've been very kind to take in one of our kids for a summer internship.
How lovely is that?
And we have kids who are racing and doing rowing. And our champion girls are rowing champions from Kiran Foundation.
Wow.
And we have a kid in Malaysia.
And where do they practice rowing here?
At the boat club.
Yeah.
Arif Ikram is incredible.
Yeah.
Arif Ikram is the captain of the boat club.
Yeah.
And he takes these kids across the world and he makes them race and does rowing stuff.
Yeah.
So you must have him on someday because he's done some incredible stuff with kids from Pakistan.
Yeah, we've heard of that. Yeah.
And there's a boxer girl that we have. Who's winning laurels for Pakistan from Liari, from Kiran Foundation.
Yeah, I think.
And then we have these kids who are running and sprinting. And we have kids studying in Japan. And they're from the poorest of the poor backgrounds. They're it's the biggest and the most violent slum in Pakistan. and we have kids coming out of there, and Kiran and Sabina Khatri and the board is doing some incredible stuff.
And so all of these kids have a propensity for adventure from before, or is it something that they get inspired by?
They're tough. So we give them the motivation. We give them exposure to the world. We are trying to show them part of life which they could have never had access to.
Absolutely.
And through that access, they are now excelling, whether it be at studies or at sports. And that's what we try to do with all of Pakistan.
Of course.
So my beautiful Pakistan, and we are trying to build the new Pakistan that we aspire to.
Absolutely.
Aspire that you and me, the Pakistan that we want. Through racing, we try to bring kids into the fold. Through banking, through finance. When I speak at universities, I speak at colleges, I speak at seminars. We encourage people to come into the fold, get a good education. Race. Go drive cars.
And discover Pakistan.
My Pakistan is beautiful.
And the people over here. And you've managed to cover so many places. Ghazanfar, it's been such a pleasure to interview you. Thank you so much for coming to the show. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and inspiring so many people जो आपको आज सुन रहे होंगे, देख रहे होंगे. And I'm sure उनका भी दिल चाह रहा होगा कि वो उठें और अभी, मतलब अभी तो I have more guests that I need to interview. Otherwise, I would seriously be making a run for it. But thank you so much for coming. And it's really amazing. Your journey has been truly very
Come on our channel. Put your messages on Accelerate with SGA. Come on our Insta page, SGA_ Syed Ghazanfar Agha. Ask us whatever you need. We will be there to help you.
Absolutely.
We're there to help anyone and everyone in any way we can.